New year, new content, and new best deck and format. We're talking about the League of Draven and more on this week's episode of The Winning Point.
Well, he said to repeat after him, so I was just following instructions. I'm sorry if that's too much for you, Blevins, but that's what I do on The Winning Point. No, I'm just kidding. I'll let Blevins do it.
Oh, he stole the intro. No, Charmer, you got to do it. You've now been cursed with this.
I've been cursed with it? Oh, no. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to The Winning Point.
Which episode is it? Does he know?
Episode number 29.
Episode of 2026. That's what it is.
The episode is The Winning Point, episode number 29. Somehow taking it from the fake start. Who would have thought that the cold open would get even
colder, frigid.
Get even colder, and for open. Once it wasn't my fault. But
yeah, you guys were casting cold open with repeat here to bring in the Spiritforged.
True. It's just we just straight up bellows breathed 2026 right off the bat.
Yeah.
I am Blevins. That is Casanova, and way over there is Charmer. We are here for the first time in 2026 here on The Winning Point. Welcome, friends. How you been? It's been a little bit.
Good. I'm chilling. I'm already so deep into Spiritforged, getting ready for the Chinese national or not national opens, the regional opens coming up. Making sure that I know everything about every single thing in Spiritforged, and I still don't. There's a lot going on.
So much.
I am better now. I'll admit, a little depressed during the holiday season, not because my holidays were bad, but because I came down with an illness and I had to miss my skirmish. And so I was very upset at that, but I didn't want to get everybody else sick. So I was a little bummed, and now I'm just hard looking ahead at Spiritforged, really excited for the release. I'm excited to see what these Chinese events bring to the table. We've already seen some early results out of China, but I'm hoping that we'll see some more innovation beyond what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that we may see a lot of craziness that will consolidate and then iterate smallly, and then we'll see even more craziness once we get to the
What about you, Blev? You played a skirmish, right?
I did. I played one skirmish, and boy, oh boy, do I have a buy for Bologna. So sometimes lucky. Actually got lucky with how I will say different tiebreakers work in Riftbound than would work in a Magic the Gathering event. But they worked bank error in my not error, but they worked in my favor. I was able to make the top cut, and then won my match to get into the finals. Top four was a smaller event, and then split in the finals.
There you go.
The person that I was playing against in the finals already had 2 buys from winning 2 skirmishes previously. Said I only care about the buy if you want to play it out, and they're like, nope. Just if you give me the playmat, you can have the buy. We shook hands and went on our merry way. So I'm 1-0 in Bologna right now. Loving it.
I had the same thing at my skirmish. I went and played one, and I made finals against like my only even reasonably bad matchup in the room, and I was like, do you want the buy? And he was like, no, not at all. And I was like, well, I do. Do you want to split? And he's like, hell yeah. We'd been playing for 10 hours anyway. It was like 5 rounds cut to top 8, and we played through it, and we were just like, we were both like, oh, I'm happy to play a game, but I'm also happy to have us both go home with something we're really really happy with, and not play that game. And so we didn't, but yeah, no, it was nice. It was a good time. I played Annie. I think you did the same.
I did also play Annie.
Yeah, I definitely like Annie in the skirmish setting. It felt really solid. I feel like there's a lot of room for outplay. I mean, Kai'Sa's just as good, honestly, in that setting. I think those two decks kind of feel pretty great to play in skirmishes right now.
Yeah, I think I would maybe be I would feel confident playing almost anything except for like Master Yi. I just don't really want to play that deck at all. Yeah. But like any of the other like reasonably high tier decks, I would be fine with. But Annie's the one that I have played the most because it's the one that I just like. The cards I opened, I had the whole deck. I'm like, I guess I'm playing Annie, and then it over the course of the few weeks between release and Houston became the go-to deck. So
Yeah.
like just got lucky, I guess. So no,
All right.
but yeah, no, it was a good experience. I am potentially playing another skirmish this weekend, actually. And well, I don't even care if anyone that is going to be at that skirmish hears me right now. I'm going to be playing Yasuo at that skirmish. So
Sounds fun. Sounds
yeah,
good.
sounds
Yeah.
like it will be fun. But outside of that, Cass, we've got a lot of stuff coming up.
Oh yeah.
With the winning point, turn them sideways, all that. I know you've got some stuff to maybe preview a little bit here, Cass.
Yeah, we got kind of announcements. I mean, yeah, the New Year's like content plans, what we want to do in the future. We just released a video that was Sideways Showdown. It took a lot of effort from us to figure out how to make that video and get it out. And you know, Charmer and I recorded that gameplay in October. It's embarrassing to watch the gameplay itself back, but the video itself is
It's
like
really well done.
I think it's a great video, and I'm really proud of us, and feel like we learned a lot from the process of making it. And now we have an editor helping us out. His name's Abe. He's an old friend of mine that worked with me and Blev back at Wisdom, and he's made some really amazing videos with us in the past, and he's helping kind of create these videos going forward. And so our timeline should be improved a lot, and that's the kind of video I think we want to make a lot of going forward with 1v1, 2v2 multiplayer, like all the different formats, kind of edited in that similar style. And I'm moving in March, and we'll be kind of setting up like a home studio to record more of that type of content. So I hope people like it. You can check out the video, even if just for like the editing style. Let us know some feedback and stuff, because I know it's older gameplay, so a lot of people are a little bit less interested in that. But in the future, yeah, it'll be at least a lot more current and a lot faster of turnaround, which will be really fun. So I'm very excited about that for content. We also have a couple other new series. I just recorded the first episode of First 40, and you'll find out what that is when that gets released on the channel, which is fun. Yeah, other than that, co-streams coming back in a really big way. There are 4 regional opens for China coming up for Spiritforged. They're starting now. The schedule in Chinese. Let me translate it for you with my fluent Mandarin. That is January 17th and 18th is the first one. But for us in the US, that means January 16th and 17th is really when that will be. As far as start times are concerned, it'll be the evening of the 16th, going into the 17th for the first. And it's every weekend after that until February 8th is when it'll finish, right? The last weekend will be the February 6th and 7th. So we have 4 events. We're going to be co-streaming all of them on the Turn 'em Sideways channel. We're trying to level it up a little bit. We're going to add an additional segment. We're going to have someone actually producing it instead of it just being me sitting in my office, not disassociating, but like hallucinating halfway through the night, trying to be a little bit more locked in. I think we wanted to this time maybe try and provide actual real commentary of the matches, and then still keep that really fun, nice audience interaction in between. And so we're going to be a little bit more dialed for the matches themselves, so that there is like kind of an official, unofficial English cast of the games. And I think that's going to be really fun. So we're still trying to partner up with some more content creators to come in and be a part of that to help fill time slots. And it should just be a really fun stream experience. I hope everybody drops in. And on top of that, we'll be having some product coming back, and also new product showing up. The Viktor mats, people love them. We didn't order enough. They sold out very quickly in Vegas. So we'll have those, as well as an additional artwork mat coming out with a lot more copies of them, so they won't sell out nearly as fast for people if they want to get their hands on them. Those will be starting to be sold.
They still
again.
may sell out nearly
they might,
as fast.
Yeah, they might. But
more people will be able to get them.
Yeah, just more people will be able to get them. It won't be the first 45 minutes of the stream. Hopefully, well, I mean, if that happens, that's great too. But and that'll be with the Chinese co-streams. That's when we'll kind of like start selling them again. So eyes out for that. I'm excited with the new year of content for Turn 'em Sideways. There's a lot of really fun stuff that we're getting to do right out the gates. And the last thing that we're doing is, we're heading. You mentioned it with the buys, but you and I at least are going to play in Bologna.
Yeah, Bologna should be fun. We'll talk about We'll talk about the whole experience with tickets at a later point in the in the pod. But yeah, I am going to be playing in Bologna. My plan is to shoot the moon for a metal card. I'm not going to reveal which metal card I'm going for yet, mostly because I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been super dialed in for a while on Spiritforged. I basically started my testing yesterday.
Yeah.
No, 2 days ago. So I've gotten some games in, which has been fun, and have played some decks, have watched a lot of games, but yeah, I'm behind the 8 ball there.
Yeah, I mean, I think with like casting being my priority in the game, I think I'm also kind of pretty interested in playing for a metal card. Just finding a deck that I just love a lot, and then just playing to be the best of that deck. Now I'm probably too competitive to pick a deck that couldn't possibly win the event. But I'm less likely to be on just like if Draven really is the best deck, less likely to be on like a Draven or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm 0% on Draven right now.
What about you, Charmer? Any upcoming events? I know you're not doing Bologna, but people see you in Vegas.
Yeah, I actually had originally started looking at flight info for Bologna, and I was going to see if I could figure out a way to make that work. But it turns out I play a lot of card games, and I am locked in for a different event that same weekend. So will not be there, but I am looking forward to Vegas. I'm currently on the wait list. Again, we'll talk about ticket stuff later, but currently on the wait list, but am trying to at least make it to that one. And worst case scenario, like I show up and I get to play the game and
play some sides.
Play some side events, hang out with people, help, get some content, whatever. Like it'll be a worthwhile trip no matter what. But if I do get in from the wait list, I also will likely be playing for a metal card because I just think that's like part of the fun, and I will definitely be playing something that I do not think will be capable of winning the event. Just because I think, at least right now for this set, most of what I would describe as like the less competitive legends are actually the ones that like gameplay wise feel more compelling to me. So I just think if I'm going to show up and have fun, because like Cass, I'm far more interested in casting as opposed to being like a true competitive player.
Yeah.
That's kind of what appeals to me.
That's the plans for early on. Longer announcement segment, and we got a lot to cover. So let's crank through some stuff, Blow. Especially some of the quicker things. Let's get through them.
Yeah, we've got sort of the next wave of stuff has started to come in. Worlds bundles are arriving in people's inboxes. I literally have mine here. Let's not dox myself again. Have not opened it yet.
Not dox myself again is crazy.
No comment. But yeah, no. Worlds bundles have come in. Just as a little sneak preview into some other content that I've done. The Worlds bundles when they're on pre-order on TCG Player were like almost $450. When they actually got released, they are significantly closer to the MSRP price that was paid on the website, which is something that I think most people who thought for even 2 seconds about it would be able to posit. But the sad reality is that the people that are getting gotten by these excessively high prices for these resale items are the ones that just aren't keyed into what how it actually works, and like the fact that they are not in people's hands yet, and everyone in the world is going to be getting theirs. And the people that got to are going to be looking to get rid of them. They're going to be people who ordered them and are not as excited about it anymore. People that don't care about Teemo anymore, blah, blah, blah. And the price has dropped about 50% in basically one day. So just trying to get the word out there. If you are thinking about overpaying exorbitantly for like an Arcane promo box, just wait until at least they release, because I don't think they're going to go up when literally everyone gets them in their hands.
Don't get in the pool.
Don't stay out of the pool. We also have been hearing or I've been seeing a lot of people in stores saying that wave 2 is actually starting to arrive, starting to trickle in. So check check in with your local game store, see if they've got boxes. I obviously don't have insight into every single LGS, but a lot of them have been selling at least reasonable prices. I've also seen a lot of LGSs that aren't, but it's usually like one per customer at a certain price. So at least the LGS I used to work at, we're just selling them at MSRP, but it was one per customer, and they would break the seal when you bought it. So, which is a pretty standard practice for anti-scalping measures. So shout outs to them and any other store that is doing that, or at least selling it at a reasonable price. I personally am not opposed to a store making a slight markup, but don't catch me with these $450 boxes. Like get out. And then Riot, the Riot store wave 2 of products is also at least being shipped. I'm reporting this from having gotten my confirmation like a week and a half ago, and it's still being
so
pending as
starting.
It's been shipped.
Yeah.
So who knows when that will happen. Same thing happened with the Worlds bundle. Like I was in Paris when I got the notification that they were en route, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not going to be here. I need to reroute this to a different to like a pickup place, and it didn't show up for 2.5 weeks after that. So I'm like, oh, I did not need for that to happen. So, but it on its way. So long story short, an influx of product. I know it's not going to be enough for everyone. There's still going to be people that are saying it's not enough. And I get that. I feel that. I've been very fortunate in being able to get products and have had cards since the beginning to be able to play. I know a lot of people aren't, so I'm not trying to lessen the hurt of not having access to cards and being able to play, but steps are being taken. The steps that Riot has said that they're going to be making and UVS has said they're going to be making are being made, and we're seeing products start to trickle in, which is good.
No, I mean it's great. The hope is that the prices continue to come down. It's still one of the most affordable TCGs that I've seen around, even with the crazy horrible stuff happening early, which is a good sign, right? Like there are meta decks that you're still able to get like under $100. When we look towards Spiritforged,
as long as they don't have Kaisa in it,
exactly, right?
Okay.
yeah. As we look towards Spiritforged, there was that like Viktor list that's basically just all spells, no units, and basically you could buy that deck for like $40 or less, which is, and it's a deck that I think could reasonably win you a lot of tournaments. So it's good that
you could win a skirmish with the 100%. Deck that is mostly like commons and uncommons.
Yeah, so
for sure.
So I'm glad that this game is going to be accessible. The fact that the cards themselves have not been super accessible, and yet the prices to even play a decent deck are still not crazy if you just go singles only, is good. And it should, in theory, just get better. And that is the hope. And so far, it looks like that will be the case. Outside of, as you said, Kaisa. Yeah, I mean, Kaisa Survivor is crazy right now. I mean, that's just is what it is.
Let's be honest, the card has been undervalued, weirdly enough. It should not have been like the third or fourth most expensive card in the set. Like it's been the best card in the set for a long time.
Like I'm obviously not excited when cards go up in price, but I am at least excited that prices are starting to reflect like actual value, because there was a long time when Kaisa was still cheaper than Time Warp, cheaper than Ed Bloom, Aurora, and I was just like, why? This is clearly, I think, the best card in set one by a long shot.
Also more likely to be 3 copies of it than the other cards. Other than Aurora. Aurora is always 3 copies, right? But,
also, Cass, you're going to hate me for this, but the most like overvalued to playability card in the entire set of Origins is easily the Leona signature spell, which is like
Zenith Blade. I was just going to say,
so bad.
No, do you know how annoyed I was trying to get my copies? I was just playing the deck with just like a single copy of it because I just didn't want to pay for 2 more copies of it. Even though like all my content, I'm like, yeah, you should play 3 copies, but I just wasn't because I don't have 3 copies. And like, the thing is power wise, sure, but because it's in Leona the deck, then why? I think signatures are going to have this problem for a long time. Actually, it's a little bit annoying, but like it is what it is. I think they improved that a little bit, at least with the starter decks having signatures going forward that we talked about. You know, the Rumble and Fiora are going to have those, which I think that's really
Boy,
big,
if-
and that's awesome.
Riposte was not in that starter
Yeah.
deck. If Fiora is good, boy, that is going to be.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, that's really sweet. And hopefully they can continue to find ways to like help that in the future, so that like signatures aren't just like always kind of cost prohibitive, because you know you just need 3 just for that one specific deck or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. Especially, yeah, it feels like they aren't there. I wouldn't say short printed. Well, no, I mean they almost feel like low-key short printed as far as like finding signatures. I feel like when I open boxes,
biasing that.
It probably is, yeah. I just don't. I don't see that many signatures.
I feel like they're short printed because you usually want 3, so it's like, oh,
yeah,
I got
yeah,
one.
that's probably it. Yeah, that's probably it.
I think it's a combination of that, and also like even if it's as plentiful of the other ones, when you are looking for just the ones for your deck, for your legend, the fact that there's, you know, like double digits other legends available and you only want the signature for yours, you open in these other ones and you're like, okay, but like I didn't want, you know, the Volibear signature. I wanted the one I wanted.
You'll open 12 signatures and you're like, damn, this is short printed, I think, because it's just like it's like one of, it's one of each, right? It's one of each signature as well.
You just get one. Yeah.
It's like, wow, I just only found one in like so many boxes. Yeah, but you probably open like 12 of them. Yeah, it's probably the case. I probably go check my stuff. I probably got like 12 signatures in there, but there's all different ones.
Yeah, they're all different ones. Like, man, I just opened 12 Kaisa Survivors. Crazy. Like, can't stop printing that card.
Yeah.
I also just bought a new house. But yeah, I mean, there's, yeah, I think it's a discussion we can have at some point with signature spells, because I think that there is a bit of they want them to feel splashy and important, so they're epic, and maybe don't need to be from a gameplay perspective.
It'd be very nice if they were in the rare slot. Actually, it'd be really, really nice.
Yeah, but it's a
I get it,
because I get it too. But not the topic for today. One of the topics for today is something that we can be really in awe of, and probably won't be able to get in America because, or the UK for that matter, is the Chinese New Year promo box that they revealed. At least we saw it today. Hamana. It's got an alt art. It's got an alt art Irelia legend with matching sleeves. It's got a Poro coin that randomly has a chance of being a gold Poro coin that is just rarer. It comes with a bunch of packs of Spiritforged and some single card packs, which I think are themed around. I don't know the lore or the tradition of Chinese New Year exactly, so I'm probably butchering it, but I know that there's single card packs and they're in the red envelopes, which I know is usually associated with Chinese New Year.
Yep, usually money in the red envelopes when gifting. But yeah, it's I mean, this is cool. Jump in the pool for this one, I guess.
Sick.
Yeah,
I mean, I say there's a shark in the pool, and I'm like, I'm a bigger boat. I found a bigger boat. I'm jumping in.
I'll get in the pool for this one. No, I probably won't, but I do think they are really, really cool. And like, I would love to have this. I just probably won't go out of my way to get it. But that's just how I am with like playing and stuff in card games. But yeah, this is just really, really nice, and I've been enjoying playing Irelia quite a bit actually. So I'd love to have an Irelia promo like this. It'd be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I would really like one too. If it does somehow magically, Magic Christmas Land get an English release, then I think for sure track it down. The fact that you'd have to, order from an overseas provider and do all of that stuff, I don't know if I will get in the pool for this, but I kind of want to, because this is just outstanding as far as like a package goes. It's everything that's up my alley, and specifically I've been avoiding a lot of the Chinese stuff because of the mix and match rules, but the fact that like the legend, you can just still have an English deck but play with the legend is very appealing to me, and I like the Poro coin.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a Poro coin. I mean, it's all going to depend on the price, but I definitely do want one of these. I've already put feelers out for people I know that have gotten access to Chinese cards to see if they have a line to them, and I'm coming up with blanks so far. So if you know anyone that can source these at a reasonable price and get them to the US/UK, hit us up because I'm interested. I'm just personally interested in acquiring. I mean, I'd like at least one, but I want one to keep and one to play with. So we'll see. It'll probably end up like the Timo promo, which I never got or even tried to get. So we'll see.
Yep.
Also, Riot, if you're listening, people in English-speaking countries want this product. So you've got at least 3 interested parties here that would be, and I know many, many more that want it. So we shall see. I wanted to, as we move on here, talk about an update that we weren't able to. I can't remember if it happened either right after we recorded or over the holiday break, but they changed the tournament timer rules for how round timing works. So basically, the long and short of it is we're getting extra time in the actual regular time, and instead of here we go, the old the old timer rules were 50 minutes with 5 additional turns. So after 50 minutes, time is called. Whoever active player is turn 0, and then you get 5 additional turns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That led to every single round being going massively overtime because those 5 additional turns are untimed.
Yeah.
And
We
then
had like
whoever
30 minutes every time.
it was bad.
Yeah.
The new update is 60 minutes. So we've got 10 additional minutes on the actual regular time, and then 3 additional turns with a couple extra caveats. In the overtime period, a player must lead by 2 points to be declared the winner of the match. Previously, it was just 1 point. And then in the overtime period, if a player's lead is less than or equal to 1 match point, the match will be declared a draw. So basically, it's the same. It's kind of saying the same thing twice. I don't really know why. Maybe there's a weird thing, corner case, that I can't think of off the top of my head why those 2 things are saying a different thing. But in any case, you need to be winning by 2 or more points. Otherwise, it's just an unintentional draw, which you proceed like you normally would.
I mean,
Well,
go ahead, drummer.
I was just going to say, I think what they were just trying to clarify by having both of these, while it looks like it's saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Part 1 is you can't be the winner, but then I've played in games where if you don't win, it's a double loss. So I think that they were just hedging it's going to be a draw by including the other thing.
Got it.
But
that makes sense. Charmer, what do you think off the bat? What are your thoughts on this change? Good, bad, otherwise?
I hate it. No, I'm just kidding. I think that overall it's probably better, right? You're allowing for hopefully more time and then less turns. But I also kind of think it's an indictment because you're only shaving it down by 2 turns and then you're adding 10 minutes. And if this is still going to result in less time, then that means that those 2 turns were taking more than the 10 minutes that they're giving back, right? Like that's an indictment, in my opinion, on like some of the slow play enforcement, because I don't think that turns should be taking that long, even in overtime, unless it's like a really complex, there's like a long chain of events turn. But for the most part, that still feels very lengthy to me.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I will also, withhold judgment of the system until we get, 1 set 2, but also probably a set or 2 further into the future, because I will say this will reward aggressive decks a little bit more because of the potential to win if you're ahead by 2 points, right? So if you're a deck that is maybe a combo deck or you play a bit slower and then you try to stabilize and win, this will actively work against you. And if you are piloting one of those decks, and I'm looking at you like unitless Viktor, you will want to speed up your own pace of play to accommodate, right? Because you can't necessarily trust that your opponent will recognize that you're playing a late game deck and speed through the turns. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah. I think it's better. I think it's not enough, but we'll see, right? Like let's prove it, right? I'm fine for incremental change. I think 50 minutes was far too short previously, just purely from a standpoint of finishing reasonably played games. I think people were going to turns too frequently. even when they played at a reasonable pace, I think adding 10 minutes is good. And then I think the turns have been horrible because I think people slow down to the slowest paces I've seen in my entire life playing these turns, and it's awful. And I think the 5 turns is too many. My initial take, I was talking to people about this even at Houston, and I was like, what if we just do like 55 and 3 or something? Like we give a little bit more time or something like that. I actually prefer 60, but in my brain it was like 60 and 1. Like you get a turn 0 and a turn 1, or 60 and no extra turns. But maybe the actual best is something like 65 and no additional turns or something. Like maybe it does. Maybe Riftbound just needs to be slightly more than an hour on the round time, right? But I of course, like, you know, that's something you want to try and avoid as much as possible. But reasonably, if every single round is having some amount of matches going to turns, then your rounds are not 60 minutes anyway. So what if we just did 65 minutes and then it just cuts right there, except for any extensions, instead of having this like turn system at the end, which ends up being 20 to 30 minutes. And even at 3 turns, I'm worried it's going to be 20. So I will say this is an improvement. I'm glad they're adjusting. This is better for sure in my mind. This is definitely going to be better. But yeah, is it enough is really the big question at the end of the day. And then the lead by 2 points, like, sure, it probably prevents some amount of like trying to force your opponent into a turns end game and winning in that way. Maybe this stops that sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather games just end during the time limit. So I don't the leading by points. I don't want any games decided that way, but I know that you have to have some kind of breaker like that. So that's fine.
This is the case for any deck in any game, really, or it's for any control deck in any game. There's a reason I don't want to bring a control deck to a big tournament like this. It is because of time. Because if you're playing a complex deck and your opponent is thinking a ton about what you're doing and they're taking a bunch of time, yes, you should call a judge at a high level event. You should make sure your opponent is playing fast, but at some point, like, the slog of going to time every single round for 9 rounds is going to take a toll on you. And if you're not prepared for that, that just sucks. Even if you are prepared, that just sucks to do. And yeah, I mean, I also don't want games to go to time. I am generally quite a fast player. Like, I don't remember the last time I went to time in Magic. Except at like a pre-release where my opponent was a very new player and they didn't know what they were doing, and I was helping them walk through and explaining stuff. Like, we went to time a few times. But like at a tournament, don't remember the last time I went to time, because I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going, quite fast through my turns. I've also been playing the game for 20 years. So like, I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing on my opponent's turn. So my turns take, 15 seconds, at least in the early games. Or in the early turns, and then I'm keeping the pace up. When I was playing Magic competitively, like, I had no problem calling a judge over if I thought my opponent was taking too long. Like, when you are at that level and you're playing at that level, it's just part of the game, unfortunately. I have gone to time in Riftbound events when it wasn't necessarily like anyone was super slow playing. It was just regular pace of play, and like, even if it only takes 5 seconds or whatever to put your runes underneath your rune deck, you do that a bunch of times throughout the course of 3 games, it adds minutes onto your game, even if you're not trying. So like, little things like that. I like the extra time. I do actually, now that I've thought about it a little bit more, I do like the 2-point swing, because you don't want the 2-point lead necessity. You don't want players to be incentivized to game the time system. That's the thing that you want to prevent. And I think you could, if you were trying to game the time system, you could see, oh, I need to be either on the even turn or the odd turn to be able to get that 1 point ahead. I'm on turn 5. I get that 1 point and I win. I get that plus 1 point. I win the game. Whereas like, it is harder to get plus 2 points like that, right? Like, it is much
That's
harder
true.
to do that, because usually you'll just win the game like that. If you're getting plus 2 points, you've just won the game regularly, not with like that actually not. I'm just realizing this now. That's just how you win the game, is getting +2 points. If you're able to do that, maybe it's going from 4 to 6, which wouldn't normally win you the game, but like that is a win condition, is getting +2 points. Whereas getting +1 point, it kind of shouldn't be a win condition with how Riftbound works. So it lines up in that way. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. I think overall, TLDR, thumbs up, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I expect if this doesn't just kind of work in Bologna and Vegas, we'll see continued adjustments to the system. But hopefully this will improve those massive round wait times that we had in Houston. That was one of the major complaints on the event. Great event.
Yep.
30 minutes extra on each round, not good.
Not great.
So hopefully that gets fixed here. So.
Yep. Absolutely. But speaking of events, we have actually had a decent number of events, Chinese City challenges. We've had Runes and Rift events, all featuring Spiritforged. So we've got a little taste of Spiritforged coming in to the Chinese regional events coming up here. Cass, I want to talk a little bit about the City Challenge breakdowns for the legends of Spiritforged.
Yeah, there's this cool little video on Bilibili that I was made privy to by some of my friends in China, Huge specifically, shout out to Huge, where they had all the data for the City Challenge top 8 representations from all the reported City Challenges across China. What's really funny is this video had a League of Draven Chinese rap being played in the background of it the entire time, which is just, I don't know, novel and amazing. But yeah, if you check my Twitter, then you can find even that full video. But yeah, so it starts out with Draven. 36% of all top 8 decks were Draven decks. Then Kaisa at 19, Irelia at 12, Yi at 6, Viktor at 6, Annie 3.5, Fiora 3, and then there's a bunch of small percentages like 2% or less at Lucian, Rek'Sai, Azir, Set, Rumble, Ornn, Ahri, Renata towards the bottom. So I think immediately nobody's surprised about Draven. I don't think, and I think that nobody should be surprised about Kaisa, especially if you are not surprised about Draven, because what deck is going to be better at stopping Draven from drawing a bunch of cards in combats than Kaisa, who will just kill things with spells? Right, like that should just make a lot of like logical sense. If you think Draven is good, then Kaisa is probably very good as well. From there, though, I think immediately already Irelia is like a very interesting next step there, especially just because a lot of the early Irelia decks are playing around a single unit, kind of protect the queen type comps, a lot of counter spells, a lot of buffs, and then using the readying to move around. I think a really great staple of the Irelia decks have been the boots of swiftness, give the ganking, so that you can kind of just get your unit on the point and then kind of move it back and forth between the battlefields. It's been really powerful, but I'm a bit surprised that this high of representation, because I think it is a good deck. I'm just not convinced that Irelia is necessarily a top 3 deck in the entire game. And it'll be cool to see if that continues to evolve and she maybe is one of those best 3 decks. I think there's some notable exclusions. We've had a lot of players that kind of I respect have been tweeting about Ezreal. I think the big one, Ikato, who won a 5K in Orlando, was tweeting about Ezreal a lot and seems to be cryptically talking about how good he thinks Ezreal is. There's also a Flesh and Blood player known for his Aselio gameplay that has been tweeting about Ezreal a lot. His name is Yuto. He's a Finnish national champion. Really respect his gameplay a lot, and I do think that maybe there's room for Ezreal to move up here, and we'll see if people kind of discover that, because the fact is he's not on this list whatsoever. And I think even if he's maybe not a top 3, top 4 deck or something like that, the fact that there's 0 representation is quite interesting when quite a few players I respect are quite high on the Ezreal deck, so maybe we'll see that. Also, Sivir, right? Sivir absent here. It won a Runes and Rifts. And I think that deck is actually quite a bit stronger than we're seeing from this graphic of not having any top 8s. So I think there are a few, when I say there's some notable decks excluded, I think those 2 are ones that I expected a little bit more from. And then, they're just not kind of near the top. I also personally have been pretty low on Master Yi, so to see him still at 6%, this can be card acquisition. This can be any number of things. I know Yi has always been more popular in China, and it's not like he's a crazy amount of tops, but it is still, top 4, top 5 deck as far as the amount of success. So still looking quite strong. And I just think overall these numbers are quite interesting. The Draven Kaisa, not so surprising. Everything else, I'm like, there has to be more room in Spiritforged here. I think these percentages are a little too high. And I don't think we're really in like this 2-deck meta or anything whatsoever.
I agree with you. I will say I was also surprised by a number of things, and I do think that there is a bit of a case about card acquisition, as you were pointing out, as well as regionality. Card acquisition, I'm looking at this, right? And I see Yi near the top. I see Viktor near the top. And both of those might just be people that are still playing a lot of what they had from set 1. I think that it's kind of cool that we had kind of predicted that a unitless Viktor could pop up at some point in the game's lifespan. I'm kind of surprised it happened in set 2. But it was something we talked about. But I don't know that I think that is also one of the decks that I would expect to be like the strongest in the format right now. Yeah. Another thing that I think is really interesting about this is that these are obviously not events where best of prizing is involved. So there's a lot more incentive, right, to continue playing some of those set 1 legends. And what changes when we get to the point where the best of prizing is involved? Because I would agree. I also, even though it was on the list, would have expected Lucian to be a little bit higher, because at least online I seem to be running into a fair amount of it. A lot of people are obviously kind of going for the all-in combo, but I think that there's some middle ground to still run the combo and still have a rather aggressive version of that deck. I do agree. I think Sivir is going to be this season's version of Set in some ways, where I think it's going to be more popular in the West. I'm also surprised, if I'm being honest, that Annie has still got such a low rate of play, really, as well, considering how well it's done in the West. And we know that in China, it's just not found that same foothold. But when I look at this, I was not surprised to see Draven at the top. We said when he was released, he was kind of bonkers, and I think we all still stand by that. Kaisa, again, still very good. Actually got some new help as well. Very good into Draven, so not surprised there. Irelia, not surprised it's on the list, but kind of surprised it's third. And then after that, again, like Yi, Viktor, Annie is just not, I would not have expected in that order or in that representation. So I'm very excited to see what we get in the weeks coming.
Yeah, I think you didn't mean it like this, but we also did get the update over the holiday of the best of prizing is still going to extend to Origins Legends at these the upcoming best of events. So I don't think
the upcoming ones, but the city,
correct, the city challenge doesn't have it. Yeah, right. I just mean sorry. I just mean in the sense that the meta probably will likely still be overall similar, because there's not the effect of Origins Legends not having best ofs and then disappearing because of that. But still, as we said in the previous best ofs, it still adjusts the meta, because more people will disseminate from the top decks to some lower tier decks as well, right? So just wanted to clarify, because I'm pretty sure that's what Charmer meant, but in case it was unclear.
I think it's probably impacting this meta too, to be honest, because if I am, say I am like, I want to get a Renata metal card. I've got this sick Renata list that like, I think I can win a best of Renata card. I'm not gonna put that list out for a city challenge. I don't know what the pricing is for city challenges. Yeah, I'm just gonna play some reps on another deck and try to win the event. Like it, especially like we talked about this early on, where it's like, yeah, people aren't innovating because they haven't been given a reason to. Like winning $100 online tournament, not to put shade on the $100 online tournaments, like people are not putting a ton of effort into trying to win that event. At least they're not going all out, testing for months and months, trying to find the absolute optimized deck, keeping it close to the chest and not revealing it until they win that event. You're not cashing that in to win a $100 online tournament, or even a whatever the stakes are for these city challenges, which I don't imagine is super high. but a 5-figure metal card, yeah, I'm willing to bet the house and actually put forth, like, it is worth almost any amount of effort that you would put into a card game to try to win one of these cards. So if I have, this awesome Sivir list, this awesome Renata, blah, 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 any of those bottom, legends that we see there, or one that we didn't even see, like, yeah, I'm not playing it at a city challenge if I'm going to be going, or if my team is going to, these best of tournaments. Like, I imagine that given that, like, the dynamic going into these best of tournaments has changed drastically, knowing how much those cards are worth after the fact now, right? Like, the stakes for Bologna
and
going into it are much higher than they were going in to Houston.
What I'll say for the Chinese scene is there have been sales of metal cards that I have heard of. I can't 100,000,000% confirm that I've heard of at 4 figures USD on metal cards. So compared to the West, a lot lower on the Chinese prices. So I could see for China it being less of a full incentive, but it still is an incentive to hide decks. And then also, notably, right, these four upcoming tournaments are not best of prizing with the regional opens. So it wouldn't be until basically the equivalent of the Shanghai National Open that we had last time that people would actually be willing to, I guess, like reveal these decks. So it is possible that we just have the League of Draven City forever until that event, and then the best of bring some stuff out of the woodworks. It is entirely a possible thing, even though I do think Draven is like very beatable. There's been a lot of conversation about this. I think that the deck feels really bad to play against if you are newer to the game or less experienced in the game. I think you get run over a lot by Draven, and it feels very unfair and uninteractive. But I think if you understand how to play around not giving him combats unless they're really bad combats for him, not just letting him fight or flight you and draw a card and still score a point over and over again throughout the entire game, there are a lot of decks that have a lot of game into Draven, and it's not so doomed. This is also not to say he is not an incredibly powerful legend. If I was doing a tier list right now, he is sitting in S tier alongside probably Kaisa, maybe even one more deck, but he's up there, right? Like, this is still... I'm not trying to tell you you're crazy and this deck's bad. I'm just telling you we're not in a one deck format by any means. This is not just the League of Draven as much as it may feel with the 36% representation in that those top 8s. I think there's a bit of doomsaying going on, and I don't think we're there yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's not my opinion, as we do have the Runes and Rift deck distribution for their invitational. They did a 32-player invitational. This is all the players that had kind of done the best in Runes and Rift tournaments over, I don't even know the exact set period of time, but the deck.
I think that's also their ranked, their like internal ranked players as well, because they've got a ranked server. I think it had a feeding qualification
and
there.
The most played decks for this: Draven, Irelia, Viktor, and then from there it's a lot of like 2 ofs and singletons, right? 9 Dravens, 5 Irelias, 5 Viktors, 2 Kaisa, 2 Yi, 2 Ornn, 1 Rek'Sai, 1 Lucian, 1 Ezreal, 1 Lux. Some psychopath played Lux in this tournament, but
she did think better, that there was best of prizing in the Runes of Rift online event. Maybe there was.
She did get better. I'll give it that at the minimum, but yeah, I think probably not worth playing over a lot of the other options that you got.
Charmer, you sounded like you had a point at some point before.
Get in there.
I mean, I was gonna chime in, but then Cass ended up kind of saying the majority of it anyway. I was just gonna say that yes, even with us knowing that the best of prizing is not gonna be like limited 1 of 1s or whatever, it would still be one of those things where if they're selling at fractions of what they went for, it's still worth it to protect it, right? Like, Cass said 4 digits, okay, fine. But even if we're talking like lowest of the low, bare minimum, if somebody's like, hey, you can play a non-meta deck and get a good shot at winning $1,000, like,
it's still pretty worthwhile.
So still worthwhile.
Event 1K in Bologna. I'm happy to do that, and I will be doing that. Last thing I will say about just decks in general, I guess maybe specifically Draven and some other decks. some of these decks just look bad. It's like new cards come out. Ooh, we want to try a new fancy thing, and we throw fundamentals out. Like how many think about how many 4-drops can actually fit in a regular deck of Riftbound. It's not as many as we're seeing. It's like I'm seeing decks that are running 3 Draven, 3 Kaisa, 3 Rels, 3 like throwing so many 4-drops in. It's like you just can't build your deck like that and have it work.
The Rels puzzle me so much because the ones that I'm seeing, like those lists, they barely have any targets for it. It's like just longsword, and it's like, okay, otherwise that's just a 4/4. Why is this in here?
Yeah. So I think like there's a lot of optimization that can happen. We now have expanded the card pool quite a bit, even for old decks, right? Like, what if you just ran, Diwali Annie with like 2 cards different, not trying to jam like I think you start at the old deck, and then we're starting to see people like, oh, well, this is a new card. I'm going to put in Treasure Hunter, which means I need to cut this. And then, like, oh, Treasure Hunter works with this. And all of a sudden, you just end up with this amalgamation of 4-drops. This is what I'm seeing across so many decks. Like, it all roads lead back to running way too many 4-drops. And I think at some point, you need to be like, does my deck need Kaisa? Yes or no? If it does, run them. If it doesn't, there's other things you can run. And same with all the other 4-drops. So I think, long story short, we're going to see a lot of optimization, and these decks are going to look a lot better, tighter, and more, if not tighter deck lists, more directed towards an objective, which I am excited to see. Another thing that I'm excited to see, folks, is our mailbag, which is coming in here. We have got we've got a doozy here. Again, if you are listening and want to be on our mailbag section, make sure to leave a comment on this YouTube video or Spotify. I did remember that Spotify has comments. Will we check them? Probably. Anyway, we've got from at YCFTCG, or you guys should talk about how UVS Thanos snapped half the player base with incredibly poor ticket sales today, meaning whatever day the Bologna and Vegas tickets.
It was after we started our break, which we were like, should we do an episode? We thought we messaged for a second. We were like, do we need to do an episode? And we are like, no, we should take our break. People will talk about it. It's fine. It's covered. Yeah. Yeah. Look, it still leaves a bit to be desired, I will say. I have the privilege of having a ticket to Bologna, so I can sympathize, whatever, whichever one with people who didn't get tickets, because it sucks. And I do think there's a lot of improvements that can be done, especially with the it was too easy to guess the potential website that it could have been. So some people were refreshing while others were waiting for the Twitter post that came after the tickets were sold out or whatever, which is horrible. I'm hoping that after either this year of events or a couple months that they can increase the cap. But even if they do, it's going to be the same result. It'll just be more people get in. And I don't even know what to fully say to improve it. I just know that this is a terrible situation being caused by so many people wanting to play this amazing game. And it is tough. Do either of you have a solution to this? This could have been handled better by far. The VAT tax on US purchases, there's a lot of really bad,
illegal, and it got refunded, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bad to unpack from how these sales went. But what is there a long-term fix? I mean, of course, the systems being better, so there's not any of these literally illegal sales in the European side of things, or the backdoor in. It wasn't actually even a backdoor in, it was just guessing the right site so that you could spam refresh at the time. So that, making sure the tweet goes out on time so people can actually attempt to get in if they were just looking for that. I don't know, Charmer, it seems like you have an idea on maybe a way to.
I do.
Improve.
I have a couple. So first, the logistical cleanup. I mean, you kind of already touched on it, right? Make sure that the site and the distribution of the information of, it being live and tickets being available is cleaned up a bit. Make sure that any of your international taxes and or things, all that is cleaned up. And that's just kind of across the board, because we've also heard people talking about exorbitant shipping costs and some of the other Riot orders, and then that gets refunded, etc. But also, it won't be an easy fix or a short fix, but long term, honestly, I think what needs to be done is just more events.
Yeah.
Like the reality is yes, you can raise the cap, but at the end of the day, you still need to have a venue to run these events. And a lot of venues can only support so many players, right? It's not like we can magically all over the country and, all over the world, because it's a global game, have this expectation where you're going to have 2,000, 3,000 players every big event, right? So raising the cap is like adding another lane on the highway. It's not really going to solve the problem in the way that you want to. So the other option is if you're trying to increase availability to players, you just run more events, and it will take time for the logistics of that to kind of get spun up, because you don't want to over plan, right? Because when you are running these events, you have to secure the event hall ahead of time. You have to make sure you've got judges. You got to have people running the event. All of that stuff needs to get planned, and you don't want to over plan and like overestimate your demand and then have it not be something that is enjoyable and whatever for everybody involved. So I do think that you want to increase it over time, but like, to me, that is the real solution. I want to get to a point where I don't feel like I have to attend every big event, because I know more are coming. And I think right now, just because of the infancy of the game, I feel like I am drastically missing out when I don't get to attend an event.
Yeah. Yeah, you basically like having an event per month or something, or just in general. Like I think about Fab, and like there's just callings all the time, and then there's a PT, and then there's something else, and it's like if you miss a calling, it's like whatever. You got Battle Hardens that are like a little smaller, even if they're just 200 or 300 people, they're still official events, and they're partnering with like local stores and local like event runners to kind of make that happen. I think widening that net, and they don't have to just be Fab, though. I wouldn't turn that down, because I do think that the OP system of Fab is incredible. I think trying to get towards that direction is definitely. You know what? I think you've nailed it, Charmer. I think that really is just kind of the way that this has to go, because there's not like another solution that is really that effective. And then yes, the we talked about it. The logistical stuff is kind of unacceptable, right? Like that has to be fixed. That cannot exist going forward. But you can at least forgive and forget for the early stages of things going a little shitty. But it is unacceptable, and it does have to be solved.
I will also say, even beyond just like venue stuff and whatever, one of the other reasons that I say like it won't be a fast fix for this, when you're thinking about like why don't they just run more events, is the judge program, right?
Yeah.
We are still in the infancy of that as well. And if you want to do not just, bigger events, but more events, you also have to have a good pool of qualified judges, because we've all experienced bad judging. And I do think they're working on that, but this is why it's not something where they're just going to, tomorrow announce an event a month or whatever, right? But I think that long term, that is what I would like to see.
Yeah. And this lines up with how at least Riot, and I think UVS is a bit less public with what they're saying in terms of statements. They're sort of acting on that. But what Riot has said with, popularity of the game, releasing cards, getting them out, like we as a community have vastly overcome what their initial expectations were in a lot of ways. Tournament interest is obviously one of those ways. The demand for products has been way more than what they expected. I think it was Riot Sherman who said that the demand for the tournament tickets was like 5 times as much as they were expecting. Which, I mean, does lead you to the question of like, how are you accurately predicting it? When were these predictions taken?
Who's predicting this, Blevins? Because we gotta get them out of here. They can't be making predictions anymore. This is
I guess not. But
who's doing that?
It's also like, I mean, you see, they obviously just, if you just are looking at the things that have been publicly said, the things that have publicly happened, like they were very conservative in their estimates for everything, right? Like they were very much like, we've got an idea for things. We're going to execute on that idea. And if it's bigger than that, great, we'll adapt. If it's like it probably can't be much smaller than this, or else we've made a grave mistake.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're iterating on that. This goes back to, and again, it's hard to accept this, but like in my mind, we're still in Riftbound beta. I know that sucks because of all of the reasons that we're all bought into, but like it is the beta. We are unfortunately, or whatever, we are beta testers in the game. We're beta testers in the organized play system, blah, 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 blah. It's all growing towards being sustainable, being a long-term thing. It's not just, hey, we released this game, we're going to sell a bunch of cards and thank you for your service. Please play Riot games.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it doesn't mean that you have to like just accept everything that happens and not be vocal about it and not like tell Riot when they're really messing up or when UVS is really messing up. Like you should definitely tell them and be constructive about it. I have seen people be less than constructive, but I think like complaining about it is fine, and like telling them that, hey, this really sucked. This was really bad. Like please fix this is actually good, because if this is the beta, then that needs to happen in order for those corrections to be made. So it's not like an excuse for these things to have gone wrong or to be bad. It is more just like some good, I think Blevins like contextualizing what this kind of feels like and how it is, and what in order to go forward, these things need to be improved, but it does at least feel like there is some listening happening and some improvement being moved towards, and hopefully a good end result. But if you got screwed by some of this stuff, let them know. Be like, this sucks, and I really wish that I could go play the game.
Yep, it does, but hopefully this will all be a funny little memory when everyone has the decks that they want to play, and we're cracking packs to get those really rare alt art cards and not those really expensive game pieces. But that is the thing that they are working on. At least that's what they have said. But what I am saying is that is our first episode of 2026 wrapped here for the Winning Point. That is going to be it for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for watching, all that stuff. Make sure you are liking, commenting, and subscribing. All of it does help. I know a lot of people come up to us at events and they're acting like we're this multi-million-dollar production company because we do such a great job on everything. We're just a bunch of people that have no boundaries in terms of how much time and effort we're willing to put into something to make it awesome. And we're going to continue doing that, and your support really does help. So for Casanova, for Charmer, for the whole Turn 'em Sideways crew, I've been Blevins. See ya.